childcare and daycares. Governor Mike DeWine says that a big announcement regarding that is coming on Monday and that they're taking their time to make sure that they get it right. We're going to have a lot more coming up. We hope you stay with us. At the State House, Molly Martinez, Spectrum News.
Here it is. The news about the coronavirus.
Trust fund to pay those out.
That's right. The news about the coronavirus.
Deposits going, and the latest updates for those waiting for phase 2 of the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program.
With almost $2 billion in paid claims so far since the pandemic began, Ohio, like other states, is nearing the end of their unemployment fund. That fund is sustained by payroll taxes from employers, and Ohio reported almost 1 million unique claims. 536,000 of those have been paid. Director Kimberly Hall says they'll need to likely borrow from the federal government to keep deposits coming.
We do know that we are, at this current pace, on track to deplete our state resources in the unemployment trust fund here by June, with the unprecedented volume.
But the additional $600 in payments is funded federally through July, and the new federal Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program through December.
Strain on the state unemployment system comes from the traditional UI path. The federal government did give us full funding to support kind of that additional safety net that I've been talking about for other employees.
The issue is with state regular unemployment insurance payments, and this situation happened previously with the 2008 recession. The state took out loans to cover unemployment benefits, which are an entitlement states are obligated to pay. Director Hall says that there may be changes to the federal loans available to cover unemployment to reduce the burden on states.
They may relax some of the repayment obligations. With the Great Recession, we had to repay it, and it took us until, I think, 2016 to get that repaid at those particular rates.
Initial filings for unemployment dropped again this week, with around 61,000 Ohioans filing for new applications. That brings the total of initial claims filed in Ohio since March 15th at around 1.12 million, with just under 1 million filed by individual Ohioans. 33 million nationwide are also on the unemployment rolls. Director Hall says their goal is to focus on all pending applications until complete, and she says that the new Pandemic Unemployment Assistance application system is on track to be released next week. 208,000 Ohioans have pre-registered for that program.
We are on track with ideally next week being able to launch phase 2, which will enable those who have pre-registered or those who didn't pre-register, they can still come in and start their process.
In Columbus, Oregon's Spectrum News.
Governor Mike DeWine shared the much-awaited news on when restaurants will fully open. Outdoor dining areas will open next Friday, and indoor dining rooms will open May 21st. Restaurants in Hamilton are celebrating their first ever restaurant week this week. While they've seen an increase in carry-out orders, owners tell us they're looking forward to opening their dining rooms to their guests, but they say they're concerned about how they'll be able to social distance, especially in smaller dining rooms.
Social distancing and things of that nature is going to be still a huge change, and it's something that we all going to have to adapt to, and wondering how it's going to work.
Restaurant owners say they are prepared to do everything possible to keep their employees and customers safe. Retail stores will begin reopening in the state starting on Tuesday. It's part of Governor Mike DeWine's Responsible Restart Ohio plan. In Fairlawn, Ohio, Cynthia's Boutique is gearing up for that reopening. Owner Cindy Whitford says it will take her several months to make up the money she lost during the shutdown. She's implementing new safety precautions to keep her shoppers safe. She worries, however, if it will be enough to bring shoppers back into her store.
I just hope that people shop. If nobody comes in and shops, then the businesses cannot survive. What people don't understand is, this is, we can't make up in a month what we lost. It's going to take months. It really, really did hurt us, and it still is hurting us, and it will probably hurt us through July.
Cynthia's Boutique is launching an online store this week. The store also offers curbside pickup and delivery. Most of us seeing a bit of a warm-up today. Let's see what's in store for the rest of the week with an updated check of your Weather on the One's forecast.
Hey, Northeast Ohio, Cleveland, I'm Andrew Kozak with your Weather on the Ones forecast right here on Spectrum News 1. Appreciate you joining me as we head into a busy 24 to 48 hours. Make sure to join me on Facebook at facebook.com/Andrew Kozak TV, Andrew Kozak TV on Twitter, Instagram, and on Snapchat. This is the big story. We're talking about a freeze warning for every single county in Ohio, and we're not alone. Michigan included, most of West Virginia, a large portion of Kentucky, all the way down to the Tennessee border, in fact, even into Tennessee, and then even heading into parts of the deep south. We have freeze watches in effect. This is a really cold air mass coming in, sparing almost nobody on the eastern section, we'll say half of the country. So if you want to enjoy the outdoors, do it at your own risk Friday. We'll have some showers out there. Saturday I put the check mark because we will recover in the afternoon. The first half of the day is really cold. A couple showers on Sunday, and then next week, so much better. We're not going to have a quick recovery, but at least we'll take some baby steps to get back into some normalcy as we head into next week. Some headlines tonight: increasing clouds, breezy and colder, certainly much colder by the morning hours. We'll look at a cold rain to the south of I-70. For us, a couple of showers. Again, the big story Friday into Friday night and then into Saturday morning. We have that freeze warning into effect. We're in the north, and that means a few snowflakes to the north applies to us. We're going to track some snow. We might even track some lake effect snow showers that could cause a few areas of light accumulation inland. We'll talk about that in just a second. We've had a couple of sprinkles to the east of us, but the real story for the next couple of hours will be that we'll slowly cool into the low 40s overnight into the morning hours Friday, upper 30s by about 7. Clouds are in place, and maybe a couple of sprinkles. As you can see, we'll start to really see those clouds thicken up by about 7 o'clock in the morning. 30s along the shore. We're looking at maybe mid to upper 40s a little further south. And there's the rain, as you can see, just to our south. Columbus, Zanesville, a better chance for some moderate to heavy rain. Up in our neck of the woods, it really is going to be late Friday night into Saturday that the snow, or potential for snow, becomes more of an issue. There's Sandusky around 2 o'clock in the morning Saturday. And while some of those flakes that fall will accumulate lightly, the temperatures are also going to be conducive to anything that falls sticking. So maybe a half an inch in Akron, Medina could see a half an inch, even Canton could see a half an inch of snow by the time we get into Saturday evening. Friday lows start off in the 30s and 40s. High temperatures, well, they're well below where they should be. I'll come back in less than 10 minutes and find some relief in your 7-day plan.
Before we head to break, we want to thank all of the businesses out there adapting to make PPE for our first responders. And here are some of the people doing their part to stay home and stay safe. It's all part of the governor's initiative in This Together, Ohio.
Ohio has always been a great place to live and work. And now, local businesses need our support more than ever. It's up to all of us to stay safe, order local, shop local, and keep Ohio strong. Because even though right now we have to keep our distance, in Ohio, we've never been closer.
The American Red Cross urgently needs blood and platelet donations and asks all healthy donors to schedule an appointment to give now. With the coronavirus outbreak, it is important to maintain a sufficient blood supply. Your blood donation is critical and can help save lives. Please, schedule an appointment today. Download the Blood Donor app, visit redcrossblood.org, or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. You can make a difference.
We know your Ford is an essential part of your life.
Even if you're driving less right now, maintenance and service is still important.
That's why your local Ford dealership and their technicians are here to help.
We can pick up your vehicle, service it,
and then return it right to your driveway.
A fast, simple service appointment. And most importantly,
you don't need to leave your home to do it.
Call your local Ford dealer to make an appointment today. We'll handle the rest.
You didn't just start a business. You created a community, and you will rebuild. Let us help you reconnect. Let's rebuild together. Get a free video and 20% off your TV advertising. Visit rebuild.spectrumreach.com to get started.
In our community, we take care of one another. When your dreams are big, we know it's important. Levi's is sound and decisions are made locally. When your time is of the essence, we understand you need life at your fingertips. When you invest in the future, we want your nearest and dearest to feel secure. We are neighbors serving neighbors. That's why you worry less and enjoy the everyday moments. Portage Community Bank. When you grow, we grow right along with you.
Their plans every day because we are part of the community. I'm Eric Elwell, Chief Meteorologist, Spectrum News 1.
One of the most important aspects in the fight against coronavirus is an effective vaccine. As the world waits, the deadly virus continues to devastate the nation. Camila Bernal explains the quest for a COVID-19 vaccine.
Hospitals filled, jobs lost, people in masks. Everywhere you look, there are signs of the coronavirus crisis.
It's just the beginning. Until we have an effective vaccine, and unless something very unexpected happens, our viral enemy will be with us for many months and possibly many years.
Researchers racing to find a vaccine that prevents COVID-19. According to the World Health Organization, scientists have more than 100 vaccines under development across the globe, with at least 8 approved for clinical trials.
Normally it takes 3 or 4 months to establish that the vaccine is safe. That's actually the most important first question. And then we want to know if it's tolerated well and if it produces an antibody response that might be protective.
But experts say we most likely won't know if these vaccines work until next year.
Talking about a 1-year timeline here, or maybe a little better if we're very lucky, that's a blazing process for vaccine development.
As the world awaits, life will look different. In Three Forks, Montana, school is back in session.
I've been trusting them for the last couple of years to take care of my kids, and I'm trusting them now.
Teachers wore masks and students socially distanced as they entered Willow Creek School for the first time since the coronavirus pandemic began.
They know they can't hug their friends, they know they got to sit away from them, but they're glad to be back.
I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
While schools finish out the year, many are planning for what next year might look like. Coming up, why year-round schooling could be an option.
Well, I sincerely hope you enjoyed your Thursday temperatures because Friday, not anything near the upper 60s and low 70s. About a good 15 to 20, even 25 degrees cooler in some spots. We will warm up, but not before we have a freeze warning for Saturday. I'm meteorologist Andrew Kozak. A lot to process in weather. I'll explain when we come back after the break.
So, what's the plan? We jump in there, the drought ends, and then the crops grow. Okay, what if instead we just built something that would get the water from the river down to the fields? Like with tubes or something? Well, everybody walked all the way up here, so... In you go. No, you're right.
Eventually, somebody realizes there's a better way to do things. Like a mobile service with the fastest overall speeds. Now with 5G, it's a better way to mobile. It's Spectrum Mobile.
Because it's the real story of us. It's the real story of community. I'm Mary Lee Melendez, anchor reporter, Spectrum News 1.
Weather in Ohio is changing all the time.
We get winter one day and 60s the next. At Spectrum News 1, our goal is refreshingly simple.
We bring you an accurate, reliable, and local forecast every 10 minutes.
We have an incredible, experienced team of people. We don't just know about the weather, we know about Ohio.
You never have to wait for your forecast with your Weather on the Ones.
Weather on the Ones, every 10 minutes, exclusively on Spectrum. Spectrum News 1, a new kind of news channel dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across the Buckeye State. With your local forecast every 10 minutes and all of the essential news you need 24/7. Plus, in-depth shows and exclusives focused on your community. Always Ohio, always refreshing, always on. We are Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Maybe I'll run for president, maybe I won't, but I will tell you that I'm not going to go away.
I don't think Michigan can become
the Michigan of old.
We're probably the first professional sports team in the world that was built by the fans.
We're the biggest ice cream shipper in the nation, setting the standard for American ice cream.
I get to live my dream. I mean, what more can I ask for?
Conversations, Sunday and Tuesday night at 9 on Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Hey there, I'm Andrew Kozak with your 7-day forecast coming up in just about a minute 30. Thank you so much for joining me here on Spectrum News 1. So much to cover, let's get right into it. We started off with a pretty nice day, partly cloudy, mostly sunny skies. Now the clouds thickened up and really, especially just south and east of Cleveland, a couple of showers actually along the front. That's going to be a big game changer for us. Behind it, we have got some really cold air. Take a look at this. A freeze warning is in effect for the entire state of Ohio, and that's from late Friday night through Saturday morning as those temperatures really drop behind this front. Friday starts off with relatively chilly weather. I mean, we should be looking at high temperatures back into the 60s to near 70, even for us. Instead, we'll be in the 40s for most of the day, even 30s in some cases, with a cold rain mainly south of the Cleveland metro. Some of that will head up toward Akron, Mansfield. We could have a couple of drops in Cleveland, but the big story is once we get the rain out of the way, everybody, including us, affected by some massively cold temperatures, we could be looking at some snowfall, believe it or not, across the lake, mainly south of Cleveland. Now, all of this with temperatures in the upper 20s and low 30s Saturday morning, we will recover by the time we get into Saturday afternoon. But look, we should be at the very coolest in the mid to upper 60s. We're going to have near record cold statewide as we head into your Saturday with a very slow recovery next week. Some good news, we're in this gray area, even a little bit of light orange. This is May 14th through the 20th, meaning the outlook long term is that we're going to start to warm back up even above average, but it may take the next 6 to 10 days. Friday lows, upper 30s to the low 40s. Again, your 7-day forecast is showing that we could even have some snow, maybe a little bit of ice mixing in on Saturday, about a ½ an inch south of Cleveland. Then as we get into Sunday and Monday, it all melts off, a couple of showers. Next week is much better. We're finally in the 50s, even 60s, Wednesday to Thursday, a chance of showers by the end of next week. Right now, a live look at your Storm Track Doppler radar.
School as families once knew it could look a whole lot different come next year. Our Tanisha Johnson talked with one teacher who helps with planning in year-round schools and has more on how they might be the model for everyone else.
Many students all across the U.S. began their school year sitting in classrooms, either at desks or at tables. Now their classroom is in their bedroom or maybe in their kitchen. With year-round schools being the first to begin the 2020-21 school year, I decided to find out how they're moving forward with plans, especially amidst the current situation of COVID-19. Making good use of virtual office hours, students from Lincoln West High School in Cleveland get help while making every effort to stay on track. Cleveland Teachers Union President Sherry Obrensky says when Governor DeWine first closed school buildings, the impact couldn't really be felt.
It initially didn't feel very different for them because they were already going on break.
The 22-year teaching veteran helps year-round schools with scheduling and working conditions. Obrensky says while traditional school students were adjusting, it took year-round school students longer to get back into the swing of things.
In some respects, some of them kind of lagged a little bit in terms of their traditional counterparts in re-engaging with the school and with the teachers because it just didn't seem all that different for them to start.
That was just one challenge, but more are on the horizon. Obrensky says with traditional schools in Cleveland finishing just before Memorial Day weekend, year-round schools will continue their normal schedule approved by the district.
Many of our teachers are concerned that when the traditional schools are done for the year, that it is going to be more difficult than usual to keep their students engaged.
Coupled with that, many students are juggling jobs too.
Many of our families are struggling, and when students have an opportunity to go to work, they will take that opportunity.
Added to that, year-round schools begin next school year at the end of July, and they're just beginning to talk about next year's plan.
Will we be able to start the school year by having students come into school. And what would those protocols need to be? Well, we have to start kind of where we have finished off and interact with students virtually.
The questions cannot be answered until guidance comes from the Department of Health and the Department of Education. When asked if families could see Saturday classes in addition to evening classes,
my guess is that everything is going to be on the table for conversation. It's going to be a matter of figuring out how we make that work.
Obrinsky says that when they do get answers, they'll tweak things as they go along. In doing so, she believes year-round schools could be used as models to help traditional schools get started next school year, since there are less students and staff to work with. For Spectrum News, I'm Tanisha Johnson.
You may have seen them in the sky. Military fighter jets are taking flight in Ohio as a part of a nationwide salute to first responders. Dozens of pilots from the 180th Fighter Wing in Toledo went from there down to Cincinnati, Dayton, and back. Pilots say they were on a training mission, but this time flew over hospitals as a salute to those on the front line.
I was proud to get out here and really show all of our friends and family our appreciation for what they do.
What a wonderful tribute. The Ohio Air National Guard is planning flyovers in more parts of the state in the coming weeks. While restaurants prepare to reopen, one city is celebrating all they have to offer as they wait to serve patrons like normal. That story is next, but first, here's Ohio Voices.
Where I lived in California, it was the high desert, so it was very dry, and I had lots of family that lived in Nebraska and Iowa, and so growing up I always wanted to live away from where I lived in the desert because everything else was so different and vibrant compared to where we lived. The previous 5 years to moving here, we had only maybe 5 inches of rain in those total 5 years. And it was amazing to move out here. In the first week we were here, the first storm that we had, it rained like 4 inches of rain in that one storm. And people couldn't believe that. I was like, this is as much rain as we've seen in 5 years where I used to live. It's just amazing how much water is around here. So it's pretty amazing to have all the green and everything just grows on its own. It's a completely different environment compared to the desert.
Spectrum News 1, a new kind of news channel dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across the Buckeye State. With your local forecast every 10 minutes and all of the essential news you need 24/7. Plus, in-depth shows and exclusives focused on your community. Always Ohio, always refreshing, always on. We are Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Giving me an opportunity to see every corner of the state. I want to empower our communities and redefine what a news channel can be.
Every morning, the people of Ohio have the opportunity to wake up and start fresh.
We want to be a different kind of news channel, putting storytelling and community first.
Well, it's really humbling to be invited to our neighbors' homes and help them plan their day.
Welcome to Your Morning News. I'm Sophia Constantine.
Let's take a look at your weather on the one. We've got a large band of precipitation.
Your Morning News, weekday mornings on Spectrum News 1. Spectrum News 1, a new kind of news channel dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across the Buckeye State. With your local forecast every 10 minutes and all of the essential news you need 24/7. Plus, in-depth shows and exclusives focused on your community. Always Ohio, always refreshing, always on. We are Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Maybe I'll run for president, maybe I won't, but I will tell you that I'm not going to go away.
And I don't think Michigan can become the Michigan of old.
We're probably the first professional sports team in the world that was built by the fans.
We're the biggest ice cream shipper in the nation, setting the standard for American ice cream.
I get to live my dream. I mean, what more could I ask for?
Conversations, Sunday and Tuesday night at 9 on Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
News 1, I'm Mary Lou Melendez. As always, we're bringing you the latest information on the coronavirus at both the top and bottom of each hour. The Columbus Foundation has announced its main fundraiser, The Big Give, will be returning to support Central Ohio nonprofits during the coronavirus crisis. The event will run from 10 a.m. June 10th through 11 a.m. June 11th online at columbusfoundation.org. Easton Town Center will reopen in phases beginning May 12th. Easton says face masks or coverings must be worn by all guests, employees, and tenants in common areas, parking garages, and lots. The U.S. is now testing more than 1 million people each week for coronavirus. Dr. Deborah Birx says that weekly numbers should rise to 2 million or 2.5 million by mid-June. And we'll have much more on the pandemic in just a few moments. But first, let's go ahead and get a check of your weather on the One's forecast.
So not only will we need our umbrellas for your Friday, but you're also going to need a winter jacket, because although it will be cloudy and colder with some scattered rain, we're going to be talking about Friday afternoon. Temperatures most likely only being a few degrees above where they're ending up for Friday morning lows. And then we're not done yet, because by the time we get into Saturday, really Friday night into Saturday, the entire state, every single county, is underneath a freeze watch. Bring those plants inside, cover up the vegetation if you can. We have temperatures going not only below freezing, but below 30 by the time we get into the day on Saturday. A far cry from where we were on Thursday. I hope you enjoyed it. Upper 60s, even a 70-degree temperature up in Findlay. That is going to be a memory as we head into the next couple of days. Highs on Friday, 51 Cincinnati, cold rain there. Columbus, we may not get out of the upper 40s. Cleveland, mid-40s. Akron and Canton, mid to upper 40s, along with Toledo. Portsmouth at 52, that's the warm spot. Athens, 50. Lima at 49. Keep in mind, we should be in the upper 60s, near 70. We'll finally get there, but it's going to take a while. Your full forecast coming up with details in less than 10 minutes.
More than 208,000 Ohioans filed for the new federal pandemic unemployment assistance program set to roll out this month. Those stats are the latest released from Ohio's Department of Job and Family Services on Thursday. The agency's director, Kimberly Hall, says filers should expect the next part of the application to launch next week. This program offers benefits to those who don't qualify for regular unemployment but meet other criteria related to COVID-19. Hall says many of the applications are from the state's hospitality industry. The new application had to be developed after the CARES Act was signed in March.
We are on track with ideally next week being able to launch phase 2, which will enable those who have pre-registered or those who didn't pre-register, they can still come in and start their process. Enable those to begin uploading the paperwork, et cetera, necessary to complete the second phase of that application process.
If you're claiming PUA unemployment, you will need to submit verification of your income along with your application. For more details, visit unemployment.ohio.gov. As Governor DeWine announced, restaurants with outdoor seating will open next Friday and indoor dining spaces will open May 21st. In Hamilton, a restaurant owner tells Arcady Kapusta they're ready to open for sit-down dining again.
It's the first ever restaurant week here in Hamilton, and the chamber says it's interesting timing for it. But restaurants like Neil's Famous Barbecue here in the heart of downtown Hamilton are seeing a lot of business.
At Neil's Famous Barbecue, Michael Neal and his staff carefully curate each to-go order for their customers.
I love my city, a small city with a big heart, and what a wonderful place to do business.